what do you have in place for the young and the children? Because the future life of any organization are the children of today. And this is really where my heart is. And for the first time this year, we have now managed to look for a coordinator who looks after the children affairs. Because already in terms of the youth, we do have the youth leaders and organizers who look after these young men and women. But the little ones, we didn't have anything. But we now have a coordinator who work together with other coordinators in all the branches, so that when we have national events, these children are not left out. Because many a times as adults, we're a bit selfish, if I may put it that way. We think about ourselves so much, and all the programs, if you look at them, they have nothing to do with the little ones. It's all to do with what we as adults are going to be doing, which is fine in one way, but remember, any leadership which is a formidable leadership should be able to see beyond. And by seeing beyond, you need to ensure that the young ones of today, their future is actually prepared now. And so we are very, very happy that at least we have got that in place. You may also want to know our relationship with the Church of England. The Church of England is a beautiful home for most of our Zimbabwean Anglicans. We managed to fit in very well. Remember, this fellowship is not a church. It's simply a fellowship. And we actually use it as a bridge to build the Church of England. And they are very, very happy that at least most of our members who form the fellowships, they actually belong in different parishes. And most of them are already accountants, they are treasurers in most of these parishes, they are bell ringers, and some of them are PCC members, some of them are church wardens. And that actually shows that we do have, loads of our members who are already playing a very pivotal role in the life of the Church of England. And we have a very, very strong link with the two primates here, the Archbishop of York and the Archbishop of Canterbury. And so as far as our relationship is concerned, that's absolutely 100% good. And we use most of the churches offered by the Church of England. That shows the relationship, the bond we have with the Church of England. So as far as we're concerned, our relationship is very, very good. And they do support us in many, many ways. And remember, we also have the Church of the Province of Central Africa. I've talked about it before, that we are affiliated with them. And that's why we're actually going back to province, although it's to do with Zimbabwe, that if they can give us a clergyman who can come and help us here, and they can do maybe like 5 years, and then another clergyman comes from another diocese, and after 5 years from another diocese. And that's how we want to try and see things working. And that's what the Methodists do, that's what the Dutch do. It's only the Anglicans we have not been able to offer these young men from our country to come and also experience ministry in diaspora. For us, it's not just about them coming to offer services. We also want those young men to be given an opportunity, to see different ministries. When they come for 5 years and go back home, they're never the same. So it's actually an exchange ministry in one way or the other, in which we want to provide them with the opportunity to exercise their ministry and also to be able to gain some understanding of ministry in the United Kingdom. And when they go back, they will be able to exercise that kind of ministry. Why really was it important for us to actually come up with this fellowship? What was the problem? One may want to wonder. Once you're in diaspora, you'll be surprised that you're so lonely. It doesn't matter who you are. And there are many challenges, spiritual challenges that many of our people face here. Some people become sick. Your mom, your aunt, your brother, your sister is no longer there. But with this fellowship, all those needs are met. And if even one of our members, if they happen to die here, we have a structure in place where we can actually ensure that if this person wants to be buried here, we look after them. If they want to be buried in Zimbabwe, we make sure the body is flown back home. Because we do not want our people to suffer once they're here. So it's not just about worshiping, but it's also about looking at the social needs of our members. So we no longer look at each other like, oh, that one comes from Matebelele and that one comes from Mutare. We are simply a family. And this is what happens. It's just an automatic feeling that comes to you once you're in diaspora. You are one family. We call each other brothers and sisters, and it actually means a lot to us. So we realize that we cannot celebrate weddings without our brothers and sisters. So I now see every member of the fellowship as my brother and my sister. That's how I look at it. And those are the needs that we realize. There's spiritual needs as well. It's very easy for somebody who was actually very, very powerful, very strong in Zimbabwe, maybe going to church every single day. Coming in a foreign land, people don't come here to worship, remember. They come here for economic needs. And we, as the shepherds, we have a responsibility to ensure that we look after these people. And it's not just a question of just saying, we'll pray for you. So it was important to sort of come up with this fellowship so that at least people can actually belong. Because I personally feel the greatest challenge that many Zimbabwean Anglicans have is quest for belonging. But once you belong, then you want to be looked after. So as clergy now, we have an opportunity to actually look after, you know, most of these people in these pockets, that the branches that I've just talked about. So their spiritual needs are actually well looked after. Even if they become ill, we have got clergy everywhere in this country where we can simply say, please go and see our brother or sister who is in hospital. Like I said, in London, we also have Reverend Moyo. He's not full-time, but he is there to look after those people who might also need we present other requests in terms of help. So this is probably where we are now. So those are some of the theological issues and challenges that we find among our own fellowship members. And some of them is just to talk to somebody. You'll be surprised that once you're here, we now speak English. It's not our first language. Sometimes, you know, you just want to kluma, you know, that's the idea. And you can't do that if you are working in an environment like in my parish here. There are no people from my country, but I can always have them if I can invite them. And once they come here, I'm back in Zimbabwe. And so this is why it's important to actually meet as a fellowship. This other day, we had the Zimbabwe Day celebration here in this parish. And the afternoon, we're playing football. We are playing Nodo. We are playing, what do you call that? Arauru, you know, fish, Arauru, fish, and everything. Women were playing their netball. And that alone brings everybody together. And all the differences are gone. Because we are Zimbabwean. This happens in any country to foreigners. They just want to meet together and enjoy whatever they can actually bring together. How do you ensure that Zinafe's future is catered for? And how do we ensure as well that everybody who is from Zimbabwe, who is an Anglican, gets to know, you know, that this fellowship does exist? First and foremost, let me talk about you know, what I can consider as the evangelistic tool that we have, or the machinery that we have. We have all these branches here that I have talked about, 12 of them, and sooner there'll be 13 sooner or later. That's absolutely fine. Their existence alone will enable everybody who lives in these areas to actually get to know. And we look upon our members wherever they work, that they can talk openly, you know, about the existence of this fellowship, and other people may join. But that's not enough, because you see, this is any church, any fellowship. It's a charity. It's a voluntary organization, and nobody has a duty to actually do it. Nobody's mandated unless you want to allow yourself to be mandated by the Holy Spirit. That's why you'd find that in Matthew 9:37. The word of God says, you know, the harvest is plentiful, the laborers are few. What it actually means is that there's still a lot of work to be done to bring people to God. But we have few people who take it upon themselves to actually propagate the gospel of Christ. Hence, we now realize that in as much as we have branches, national events, etc., which we talk about when they're actually happening, there is a lot which has got to be done now. And again, in our Vision 2020, we've come up with, we now have a website, coordinator and controller, who works hand in hand with the website administrator. We do have a website. And this is our powerful tool. It's going to be the most important evangelistic tool for our Vision 2020. We just want to ensure that not just for people in the United Kingdom to know about the existence of our fellowship, because we now want to make sure that at least whatever is good for us is good for people in New Zealand, in Zimbabwe, in Australia. So there will be some sermons, and some talks, some teachings, which are going to be on our website. And all this is now going to happen in our Vision 2020. So when we are asleep, our website is preaching for us. When we are not talking, our website is talking on our behalf. When we are silent, our website is actually not silent. So in the era we find ourselves in this 21st century, it's now important and paramount that a website does the work for you. So we are hoping that at least we will be able to measure, actually we'll be checking our temperature by 2020. I can tell you now, I think that's going to be the best way in which we can enable other people to Google and find us. And we hope that at least that's how we can actually grow most of our fellowships. And so that's the way in which we want to spread the message. And we also hope that people will be in a position to appreciate and to begin to make use of the website. Because the more we have good stuff on the website, the more we have talks, sermons, etc., we know very well that people would want to listen carefully and they get ministered along the way. The future of Zinafe, like I said, is in the hands of the little ones. And we hope that at least these young ones whom we are looking after now will carry the flag when we are gone, because we do not want just to look at the adults or to look at the fellowship today. We are concerned about the future more than today. And finally, it's just to say one word to all those who may be listening to me. We are open to every single soul that God has created to be part of our fellowship. It doesn't matter whether you're Methodist, you are from the Dutch Reformed, or you have never been able to come close to God. Our doors are open, especially when we have national events. It's an opportunity for virtually anyone to come and be with us, because we are worshiping a living God. We do not box God. We don't want to privatize him. He's not a God for the Anglicans only. So in diaspora, any Zimbabwean who worships a living God, you are welcome to come and worship with us. Even when we meet in these particular branches, you can actually come and join us. We don't discriminate in any way whatsoever. And it is my pleasure that at least I invite all those people who might not have heard about the existence of the Zimbabwe National Anglican Fellowship, that please come and be part of this movement, where we are simply want to be transformed by the Holy Spirit as children of a loving and living God. Finally, somebody may want to say, you clergy seem to be working tirelessly. You have got 3 parishes, just a good example of myself. How do you look after these people? And I've just explained to you how we do it. It's not easy, but we just do it because we are passionate about God's people and we love our people. But maybe the other question which someone asked me was, how do you spend your time? Well, how do you relax away from all this hard work? Or in other words, I think it's a question of saying, what is my hobby? Because if you're a priest, you're still a human being. And obviously, you also need time to relax. And away from my ministry, my hobby is fishing. I do trout fishing. And I'm so fortunate that there is a man-made lake very close. I don't do it what other people do, catching and throwing back in the water. No. I have told the owner of this pond that I'm a Zimbabwean. And if I catch a trout, I eat it. And so I always go there, catch a trout, and enjoy it. So that's my hobby. I also love football, just to sit down and watch and relax, and to be with my family. I love my family. They're dear to me, and so I have to create time for them as well. So basically, this is how I look after myself. The other person said to me, tell us something that no one else within the Zinafe community would know about myself. You know, in other words, you want to know more about me. Who are you in the absence of the church and the fellowship and the fishing and everything else? You want to know who I am. Or is there anything else you want to know? Yes, there might be something else. I love everybody. You know, my heart bleeds to my people. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for the sake of love. I feel that I am a gift of love, and it's the same love that I want you to know that I do have, and I have that love in abundance. If there's any Zimbabwean who wants to talk to me, who wants to know more about Christ, or who has a problem which I can solve, I'm always available. If you give me a ring, and even if I do not respond, those who know me know very well that I'll come back to you. And the other thing as well, I'm very private. In as much as I'm very public, I always want time on my own. And what do I mean by this? Sometimes you may find me disappearing when you're having your gigs, or maybe you've got some parties and whatever. I want to be with you, but I also want to run away from you. And I know that it also gives you a bit of time to enjoy further, because we as clergymen, I know you give us that due respect, and I do not want to be a barrier to your enjoyment. I just want you to realize that as a clergyman, sometimes I create a barrier for myself, and sometimes I just love to be alone. And so when you find me disappearing, even without saying goodbye, when we have been having a bit of joy at a wedding or at a party, remember, this is my me time that I also want to create, and to give you that opportunity to have a bit of fun with all those people who are dear to you. Because I know some of you will never dance when a clergyman is available. So we give you that opportunity. May I wish you all the best from Christ. May God look after you and care for you now and forever. Amen.